Sometimes things can look really great from the outside, and we can decide to do everything within our ability to get to that other side. Like looking at the job and the life that consultants have and thinking, yeah, I want some of that. But then when we actually achieve what we were wanting, it somehow feels different. Maybe it feels great for a bit, but after a little while, the reality sets in, and suddenly it's not quite so exciting anymore. And actually, some of the bad things start to play on our minds, like how many hours you have to work as a consultant, or like how you have to travel to some not very nice places because that's where your client offices are. In this video, I'm going to remind you why you chose consulting and then tell you how to make the most of it so that you can get to where you want to go in your career and in your life. I'm going to tell you exactly what I did to get out of the feeling of, I just really hate my job right now. And by the end of this video, I hope that you're feeling a little bit less apathetic about your current job and much more excited about your future. Welcome, or welcome back, by the way. I'm Charlie, a consulting director and remote business owner, and my Consultant Explorer channel is to help you be so successful in your consulting career that you are set up for total freedom to do whatever you want to in life. So firstly, let's cover why you chose consulting. There are some surface level reasons that might have contributed to your decision. The pay, the prestige, the brand name on your CV, the places you'd get to work, the names of clients that you'd have. Maybe your family and friends thought it was a respectable profession and that was important to you. And there are also some deeper reasons that probably helped make your choice as well. The opportunity to learn, the comparatively rapid career acceleration, the type of work, the people that you'd work alongside every single day, the network that you'd make. I've actually got a video which talks in depth about the top reasons to choose consulting. So if you want to remind yourself properly, then go and have a watch. Here's the link. All right, we've got the picture. There were lots of great things to be had in consulting. Now let's cover why you might be feeling a little bit apathetic now that you're actually a consultant. You're on a bad project, or your role isn't what you wanted, or you've had a string of bad roles and bad projects. You don't like your manager, or you're not really feeling it with your project team. You've been given an alignment that your heart isn't really in. You're not sure whether you're in the right department. You feel like a small fish in a massive pond and it makes you feel unvalued. The project work isn't what you expected. You're not excited by your clients. You've been put up for promotion and you didn't get it. And that might have happened more than once. You didn't get the pay raise you were wanting or expecting. You don't like staying in hotels. You're missing out on life stuff just because of your job. Your hours are pretty bad. You're feeling stressed. You might even be close to burnout. You can't see a long-term future doing what you're doing right now. You just don't love your job. The list goes on. We've all been there, more than once. I've actually got a video which talks about some bad reasons to quit consulting, covering some of these things. I explain why quitting doesn't really resolve the problem and what to do instead. So if any of those feelings resonated with you, here's the link for you to have a watch. So you're apathetic about your job, or worse, you're really not happy in it. Now let's step back a minute and talk about what you might want to achieve ultimately in your life and in your career. None of us have 100% clarity on what we want to be when we retire, but most of us have at least an inkling about the things that we'd be excited to achieve. Maybe it's to be a CEO of a company, or the CTO or CMO. Maybe it's to be a board advisor for a few different companies. Maybe it's to be an expert in something, like your passion. Maybe it's to have an impact on the world. Maybe it's to be able to afford a lifestyle that you've always wanted. Maybe it's to support a family in certain ways. Maybe it's to create something new for people, or to provide for a team of people. Whatever it is, there's something that right now you know in your heart that you'd be really excited to achieve, whether or not it feels like it's achievable right now. And the best thing about your current job as a consultant is that it's one of the only jobs that can set you up for literally any of that. The breadth of experience and the speed of career acceleration in consulting is essentially unrivaled in any other formal career path. Can you think of another industry in which you could work that gives you the opportunity to, every 3 months, change your project, change the people you're working with, change the client you're working for, the office or place you're working in, the role you have, the objectives you have, and so on, all whilst working alongside so many other super smart, very ambitious people who will inspire you to always do your best work? So if you want to be a CXO of some sort, consulting is going to give you that opportunity. Want to be a board advisor? Again, consulting will give you that opportunity. Want to be an expert in something, create something new, or have an impact on the world? Consulting's a great place to start. Want to earn a good living? Consulting has that covered. So if you're feeling apathetic about your job, or if you just downright dislike it right now, then take that step back. consider what you want to achieve in the future and see the opportunity that consulting can create for you. Even if you don't like the work in consulting, if you're doing it for a greater cause, then it starts to have more meaning and significance for you. So here's the question now. How does consulting set you up to achieve any of those things? Let's talk about what you can do in your consulting role to move towards your goal. Now, it's not the case that you can just ride the consulting career wave and your goal is going to fall into place just like that. So that's not my message. But it definitely is the case that consulting gives you the springboard that you need. In your consulting role, you actually have the ability to engineer exactly the circumstances that you need in order to achieve your goal. Let me give you some examples from my own journey. And by the way, here's a video explaining what I saw so many people go on to do from consulting, if it helps you decide what you want to do and how. So in my own journey, as with most other consultants, I hit a wall. There were lots of things that were contributing to it. I felt like my learning curve had massively slowed, and there was a sense of stagnation. I'd started to recognize that I was interested in much more cutting-edge tech than my projects seemed to be implementing at clients. I'd worked with the same client for too long, even though it was for multiple different projects. And honestly, I felt uninspired by the potential for continuing to work at that same client. So I started exploring my options to address each of those issues. The learning curve one is the easiest. If I wasn't learning so rapidly automatically every day at work, I could do my own courses outside of work. I did several in neuroscience, philosophy of the mind, and analytics. In addition, I did a lot of reading. I learned a ton about AI. I read a lot of business books, and from all of the above, I found a massive amount of inspiration. What I realized was that in doing all of that, I was becoming more valuable. And actually, I suddenly had skills that meant I could personally spearhead new initiatives at work. So that helped tackle the next challenge. I wanted to be working with more cutting-edge tech. And now I had some personal knowledge about AI, and I had done personal research about many AI startups. And I used that. I put my hand up to lead a new AI practice for our clients, and I gathered a team of interested people to be part of it. I reached out to AI companies, I learned about their technology, and then I brought them into demo to our colleagues to create potential opportunities to bring them to our clients. And that helped tackle the next challenge I'd been facing, working at the same client for too long. Suddenly, I now had the opportunity to run POCs, proof of concepts, at clients that I wouldn't otherwise have been able to work on. And in parallel, I'd also engineered a role and project change to work at high-tech clients and on AI-related projects instead, which equally was helping to regenerate my day-to-day interest in my job. So within the space of about 12 months, I went from a position where I was sad, uninspired, unmotivated at work to a position where I was absolutely thriving. And the only difference between those two positions was the level of proactivity that I personally showed in pursuing my own interests and pioneering new initiatives that satisfied my curiosity in the relevant areas. The consulting environment was the best place for me to do all of this because it's so dynamic, with so much breadth and variation of opportunity. But what made it all possible was knowing what I wanted, what I was passionate about, and then having the drive to go after it. So if you're in the position right now where you're wondering why on earth you chose consulting in the first place, because it's just not what you wanted it to be, have a think. What do you really want to achieve? Do you know? And if not, then work on it. Open yourself to new experiences until you find something that really inspires you. And then once you do know, use the dynamism, the breadth, and the variation available to you within consulting. Use it to your heart's content. Get creative, be bold, propose things that you would never have previously had the mind to propose. You're sitting within the most incredible launchpad. It just won't launch until you actively ask it to. I have one last video that might be interesting to you at this point. I released one about whether I regretted starting my career in consulting. My career has not all been rosy, and I've been honest about that, so I hope it resonates with you. Let me know if you have any questions or comments, but otherwise, thanks so much for listening, and I wish you all the best with your exploring.